Anytime there is a UFC fight that is super close, as soon as the decision is announced, there will be a group of people that will be screaming, "That was a robbery," just as was the case in the Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko rematch. But it's the case with every fight. There will be a group of people who are unhappy with the outcome. But with this fight between Grasso and Shevchenko, it was down to one judge who is drawing the ire of the entire fight world. Was it wrong for him to score the 5th round a 10-8 round for Grasso? Yes, it was. Is Valentina Shevchenko right for being upset about that? That's another yes. Would it have mattered if it was scored 10-9 versus 10-8? I think that's where some difference is coming in. I personally had it with 3 rounds to 2 for Grasso, but I could also see the argument that Shevchenko won 3-2, so I guess let me know in the comments where you land on the decision. But just because a fight is super close, that does not mean it's a robbery. It's kind of the exact opposite of that. A robbery is when the fight is so lopsided that 99.99% of people think one person won, and then the judges give the fight to the other person. That's not what happened in this fight, but that is what has happened a lot in the history of the UFC. And in today's video, we are looking at 5 times the judges got it absolutely wrong and the 5 worst robberies in UFC history. Coming into this fight, Lyoto Machida was the champion. He was in his prime. He looked unbeatable, and Shogun was a guy who was maybe considered to be past his prime and was a big underdog. A lot of people thought that he did not have a chance, and those people were wrong. Shogun used a lot of leg kicks, a lot of body work to sort of disrupt Machida's in and out karate style, and everyone was pretty convinced that Shogun had won the decision until the judges gave the fight to Machida, which was a mistake. Another mistake was one of the judges, Cecil Peoples, went on social media and basically said some version of Shogun kicked Machida's legs a lot, but leg kicks don't win fights or don't finish fights or whatever he said. I'll put it on screen right now. But that's a dumb take and a dumb thing for a judge to say. And I'm all for judges being held accountable and have to answer for their decisions. But when they answer for their decisions, they shouldn't give answers like this. So they did the rematch right away. Shogun knocked out Machida in the first round. So karma and all, it all worked itself out, but very bad decision. So this one is a different type of robbery. It's the only loss on Jon Jones's career, and it's also the only loss that we as a whole just pretend didn't happen. Like all of these other things on the list, when we talk about losses, they're still on the person's record. We still consider it a loss. But with this fight with Jon Jones and Matt Hamill, we all just kind of collectively agreed that this one just doesn't count. Jon Jones was dominating Matt Hamill. He hit him with an elbow from the mount, an elbow that Steve Mazzagatti determined to be illegal. That elbow resulted in a disqualification, handing Matt Hamill the win. Man, Steve Mazzagatti, sure he's a nice guy, but I'm glad we don't see you anymore. It worked out okay for Jon. He had 18 wins in a row after this only loss on his career. And, he had that one no contest where he got caught being a drug cheat. But all in all, Jon Jones's career has worked out okay. At the time this one happened, it was the worst robbery in the history of the sport. And there's been things on this list that have happened after this fight and maybe taken its place at the top or bottom, I guess, however you want to view it. But this one was really bad. Diego Sanchez, he wasn't landing anything at all. Ross Pearson was cruising to a win. He even dropped Diego Sanchez in the second round. But what made this especially bad was that one judge gave 30-27 for Pearson, the correct score. And the other 2 judges, they gave it to Diego. Incorrect. But even more incorrect was one of the judges gave the fight 30-27 for Sanchez. Somehow, in the round that Diego got dropped, that judge still thought Diego Sanchez won that round. It was so bad that at the time I just assumed that judge had his scorecard wrong and he wrote the wrong name on the top, and I actually still believe that's what happened because there is no logical way Diego Sanchez won a single round in that fight, let alone all 3. Matt Hamill is back on the list, and this time he's on the wrong side of things. He beat Michael Bisping, but the judges didn't think so. Matt Hamill was all over Michael Bisping. He even dropped him in the first round, and Bisping responded a little bit better in the second round, but the third round was pure domination again. There's no shot that Michael Bisping won this fight, but the judges disagreed and they gave the win to Bisping. Coincidentally, it happened to be on his home soil in England, which, home cooking and all that. And if you showed this fight to someone who had never seen a fight before and you asked them to tell you who won, they would say Matt Hamill, because there is no way visually from everything that happened you could think Bisping won unless you were one of the judges. Say what you will about Johnny Hendricks and USADA, and I have, because post-USADA, coincidentally, Johnny Hendricks isn't a good fighter anymore, but Johnny Hendricks beat George St. Pierre. For me, this is the worst robbery on this list because I truly believe it was done intentionally and not done because of incompetence. I'm not one to go all in on conspiracy theories, but I truly believe the judges knew GSP was about to retire and they wanted him to retire as champion, so they gifted him this fight. If you go back and you watch this fight again, I can't put the audio in because I'll get hit with a copyright strike on YouTube, but if you watch this fight when this fight is over, even Joe Rogan, who loves George St. Pierre and has always talked positively about him, even Joe Rogan says, I think we have a new welterweight champion. Almost everyone thought that Hendricks had won. Hendricks' corner thought he had won. And Firas Zahabi, George St. Pierre's coach, was doing that thing where he lifts him up and carries him around to try to sell it to the judges. But I think it was pretty well established by the judges. They were giving the win to GSP unless he got super dominated. The fight was close, but it was not that close. After the fight, George says he was going to retire, and that's something that Ariel Helwani revealed. GSP's manager said was kind of cooking for a long time. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision, so again reinforces my theory. Everyone knew George was going to retire, so let's just let him go out on a win. But after the fight, he retires. He later relinquishes the belt. Johnny Hendricks fights Robbie Lawler for the vacant title, wins it, so I guess it worked out for him. But this is the one conspiracy theory that I truly believe in. GSP was gifted a win in one of the worst robberies in the history of the UFC. Which ones did I leave off the list? Which ones do you disagree with? Let me know down in the comments. Unfortunately, I think I'll have to update this list in a few years because it seems like we're getting robberies all the time. And until they do something about these judges and these referees, I unfortunately think there will be more videos in this series. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss those. Thank you all as always for watching, and I will see you in the next video.